grab a seat in a chair, preferably. There's a bunch of them over here for you guys and you guys. There's a ton of them. If we need more, we'll get more, but there's a lot. So just find a chair, and as you find a chair, tell your friend what the best thing that happened today was in your day. You can tell me. Okay, did we all find ourselves a seat? Almost? Almost. You guys who haven't yet, there's some right there. There's a couple over there. There's one right there. Lots of seats. Just find one. What was something cool that somebody said? What was something cool one of your friends said that they did today or was good? What was something cool one of your friends shared with you? What? Yeah, you got one. Yeah. School dance? There was a school dance on a Wednesday? What? Oh, the day of school ended. That was the best part. What? Oh, okay. That's cool. That's cool. Anybody else? What did you guys do over here? Anything cool? Nobody had anything cool happen today? Tegan, what happened today? What was the best part of your day? It was a terrible day? What? You caught a marshmallow in your mouth at lunch? That's pretty cool. What about you? Your friend what? A person made her laugh. Was it you? No, someone else. Tanner, what you got? You did a what? You made that pillow at school? That's cool. I didn't know you knew how to sew. What did you do? You toured a college? But you're in middle school. What college? CU. That's pretty cool. They're not very good at football anymore. What did you do? What? You got new shoes? Dang, you guys are busy on a Wednesday. Ben, what about you? So somebody made 20 bucks? That's pretty cool. Okay, one more. To draw with chalk on your face? And that was the best part of your day? Because now you have chalk marks? Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like it. I like it. All right. That's enough. You can tell me all the cool things we did after. But let's just chill out. Okay, everybody, if you have a phone, put it up in the air. That's pretty cool. And now take it and throw it under your seat like that. And that way we can just focus. What? No, my screen won't crack. I got a good case. Don't worry. So throw it under your seat. If I still see it in your hands, then, just take it from your hand and put it under your seat. It's pretty simple. Don't worry. Nobody's going to take it. But it'll help us all focus. So if you could do that, that would be great. Tonight, we are talking about a few things. But first, I don't know if you guys heard what Mason was talking about, but Local is in like 9 days, and I think you should all sign up. If you haven't signed up, do it. If you don't know how to sign up, talk to me. I'm going to give you all a card when you leave, and you can just take that card to your mom or your dad or your grandma or your coach or whoever's in charge of you and say, here, sign me up for this. Please, 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 please. And then probably they'll be like, okay, deal. And then you'll have a lot of fun next weekend, and it'll be great. And if you don't sign up, that's okay, but I might cry. So you should do that. All right. Tonight, I want to tell you guys a story, okay? We're going to start out with a good old story. So this summer, I went hiking a bunch. Who likes to go hiking? Do any of you guys ever go hiking? Yeah? Have any of you guys ever hiked a 14er, the really big mountains? Yeah? Which 14er have you done? Just yell it out. La Plata? What? Mount Evans? Nice. What? There was someone over here. Which ones? Grays and Torreys? No. Mount Evans? Nice. Bierstadt? 5 hours away. Pikes Peak? I don't know. Okay, so you've done one too? Mount Everest? I don't believe you. Show me some pictures. What'd you do? Mount Blue Sky? They renamed it? I didn't know that. Snowmass, nice, that's cool. So 14ers are pretty fun. I like to climb them every now and then, but I only like to do a couple because then I get tired and I don't really like like walking too much, but every now and then it's fun. So this summer, I was going and I did a 14er. I did Mount Sherman. If you're ever looking for a 14er to do, it's like one of the easiest ones ever, so you should try that one. But we were going up this mountain, right, and we started really early. We started at like 3 in the morning when it's like really dark out and you got your little headlight on and you're all bundled up because it's cold, because it's like, you know, really high up in the mountains and dark. So you're walking up, and we were going, and like the sun started coming up. We were getting kind of close to the top. It was probably like 5:30 or something. The sun was up, and it was really nice out. It was a beautiful day. It was all sunny, and we're getting close. Like, you know, when you're on like, well, if you've never hiked a mountain, you might not know. But if you have, when you're getting close, you can kind of see the top, and you keep thinking like, oh, I'm almost there. And then you go for like 20 more minutes, and then you're like, wait, I'm still not there. And then you keep going, and you keep going. But you're at a point where you're like, okay, I can see the top. We're getting close. It was a beautiful day out. It was like crystal clear skies, and it was just beautiful. And so we're getting close to the top, and we're probably like, 200 feet away, right? But it's like 200 feet, like straight uphill, basically. So we're going, and right as we get to the top, we're within like the last, like, I don't know, like within the last 1,000 steps where you're like, okay, I don't have to, take a million more breaks, maybe just like 5 more breaks, and then I'll make it. And we're getting close, and then it starts to get pretty windy, which if you've ever been on these mountains, they get kind of windy because they're at like 14,000 feet, and that's really high. And, when you're up on top of a flagpole, it's windy. So if you're even higher, it makes sense. It's windy. So it's getting windy, and some clouds start to roll in, and we're like, okay, like it's 6 a.m., there shouldn't be anything crazy going on, because normally, if you've ever been to the mountains, you would know the like storms don't roll in until the afternoon, right? It doesn't start storming and raining in the mountains until like 2 or 3 o'clock. So you go in the morning and you're usually good. And right as we're getting up to the top, we're seeing all these clouds rolling in, and there's a bunch of lightning in them. And it's like, okay, that's kind of scary. That's not great. Because if you've ever been on top of a mountain, you know that when you're on top of a 14er, the clouds are not like way above you. They're like right next to you, like as close as like Matthew is to me, right? They're like right there. And you're like, oh, that's kind of scary because there's lightning in those clouds and they're right next to me. And it started getting crazy windy and it started hailing on us. And hail hurts a lot, right? If you've never like been in a hailstorm, then I don't know, you should try it out sometime, and you'll know that you don't like it, right? It's not very fun. It's hailing. It started to get like lightninging. I don't know if that's a word, but it started lightninging all over the place. And we all got to the top, and we were like, well, this is terrifying. We took a really quick picture, and then we like booked it back down the mountain, and we started sprinting down the mountain because we were like, we might die up here because the lightning is like all around us, and it's hailing, and it's windy, and it's scary. And it was crazy, right? And if you've been in Colorado for a lot of your life, you know that they say like the weather here changes really fast. And nowhere is that more true than on top of a mountain, right? On top of a mountain, it went from clear skies and sunny in like 2 minutes later, it was a hailstorm. And we were like, oh my gosh, we're going to die up here. Luckily, we didn't. But that's how crazy the weather can be here, right? It changes so fast. And there's a lot of things that change really fast sometimes in our lives, right? And sometimes we think like change is scary, and sometimes change like takes forever, right? Like it takes forever to watch like a tree grow or something like that. But then there's other times like the weather where it changes like in an instant, and it's like, oh, that's actually kind of cool, right? It's a little bit scary sometimes, but it's actually really cool. We actually love this as a culture, right? We love to see things change really fast, right? We love to see, underdog stories where there's someone who's always losing who then all of a sudden starts winning, right? Like the CU football team. They were really bad last year, and now they're like not quite as bad, which is cool. So we like to see things like that, right? In our movies, there's a lot of movies that we watch, and a lot of them have change that happens really, really fast. And one of my favorite movies ever, okay, or one of my favorite movie series ever is Star Wars, okay? If you've never seen Star Wars, then as soon as you get home, you should open Disney Plus and you should start watching the Star Wars movies because that is very important. And we'll be best friends if you watch the Star Wars movies because I love Star Wars. So in Star Wars, there's like a bunch of movies, but the first like 3 movies they ever made, right? They're all about this guy named Luke Skywalker, okay? And Luke Skywalker is a good guy. So even if you don't know about the Star Wars movies, just listen up. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know, okay? Luke Skywalker, he's a good guy. He has a cool blue or sometimes green laser sword thing, and he fights against evil, and he's good, and he represents everything that's good in the world, right? He is the good guy, okay? And then there's bad guys, right? And the bad guys are called Sith, okay? And they're really scary, and they're mean. And one of them is really wrinkly and ugly, and his name is the Emperor, okay? He's like the head bad guy. And then there's this other bad guy who's way cooler than him. His name is Darth Vader, and he wears like this like black metal suit, and he breathes like, yeah, Darth Vader, that's what I just said. So he's Darth Vader, okay? He's really cool. And in the movies, you're kind of watching this battle between good and evil, right? And so in the first one, they're kind of battling it out. The good guys kind of win. And then in the next one, the bad guys kind of strike back. And we find out something really like breaking, okay? So Luke Skywalker, who's the good guy, we find out that Darth Vader, like one of the big bad guys, is actually his dad, okay? It's like, whoa, mind blown, crazy. If I'm spoiling it for you, you had 13 years to watch him, and you should have done it by now. But don't worry, still watch it. It's worth it. So he finds out he's his dad, and then we get to the third movie, okay? The third movie. And in this third movie, Luke gets captured by the bad guys, right? The evil guys get him, and he is up there with Darth Vader and the Emperor. And the Emperor, who's like Darth Vader's boss, right? He tells him, he's like, look, dude, you're going to have to kill your son because he won't turn to the bad side. So you're just going to have to kill your son. So they start having a little lightsaber fight. And Luke beats up his dad pretty good. And then he's like, I won't fight him, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to kill my dad. Pretty good guy. That's a nice thing to do. So he throws his lightsaber down, and then we're going to pick up the movie here, okay? Remember, the wrinkly guy is named the Emperor, and he's the bad guy. Darth Vader's also a bad guy. Check it out, okay?
If you will not be turned, you will be destroyed. Young fool. Only now, at the end, do you understand? Your feeble skills are no match for the power of the dark side. You have paid the price for your lack of vision. Now, young Skywalker, you will die.
Okay, so that's Star Wars. If that hasn't convinced you that you need to watch it, you should go watch it because it's great, okay? So what happened there, if you missed it, is Darth Vader, who is the guy who is getting electrocuted's dad, decides, okay, this guy who's my boss and is killing my son, he says, okay, I'm not going to listen to him anymore. I'm going to change from being an evil person to a good person, right? And we see Darth Vader change from evil to good right there in that moment, just like that. He throws the Emperor down the thing, and there's a big explosion and all that, and it's great, right? We see him turn, and everybody in the theater was like, whoa, that's so cool, it's awesome, right? And it's great, okay? That's what we like to see, right? We love seeing these stories of change. If you look at any movie, it's probably got some kind of story of a character changing in it, right? Because we love seeing it, right? And there's stories like this all over. And one of my favorite stories like this is in the Bible, okay? So we're talking about a story of Jesus today, okay? So Jesus, when he first was kind of doing his thing, doing his mission, as they call it, on earth, he was like, all right, I need to find some people to help me out with this. So he goes and he finds these two fishermen, right? And these two fishermen, their names are Simon and Andrew, okay? And they're out there fishing because that's what fishermen do. So they're out there on their boat. They're throwing their nets in, trying to catch some fish. They're not really having a lot of luck, but they're fishing, doing their thing because that's what they are. And they see Jesus as they're kind of bringing their boat back into shore. They're like, all right, it's not been a great day. We haven't caught very many fish. Oh, well, we're going to come in and we're going to go do whatever else they did with their lives. Probably not much because they were fishermen. So they're coming in and Jesus is like, oh, you should try throwing your nets on the other side of the boat, like right there. And they're like, who is this dude? What does he think he knows? Like, we know how to catch fish. That's literally our job. So they do it anyway and they catch all these fish and they're like, oh, this guy's kind of smart. Maybe there's something to this, right? And they actually knew a little bit more about him, right? Andrew knew a little bit about who this guy was, and he was like telling his brother, he's like, yo, that guy, he's special. And so they realize this. They see him perform this miracle where they help him catch all these fish, right? They bring in all these fish, and then they're like, something's different about that guy, right? And Simon, he gets out of the boat and he tells Jesus, he's like, dude, I'm not worthy. Like, you need to go somewhere else. Go away from me. I'm a sinful man, right? Simon is like, I'm a sinner. I'm messed up. You are clearly like the Lord. You should stay away from me. I'm a sinful guy. I don't deserve to be in your presence, right? And Jesus doesn't, Jesus had every right to be like, yeah, you're right. You are a sinner. Like, I don't want to hang out with you, actually. I was just helping you catch some fish. But that's not what Jesus does, right? Instead, Jesus responds to them and he says, you know what? Throw away your nets, leave your fishing, and come and follow me, right? He invites them to come follow me. He wants them to be his followers. And then they actually do that, right? It's pretty crazy. We're going to check it out. Verse 11 of this story. We're going to read it. If you've never been here before, you guys read the yellow words really loud. And there's only one tonight, so it should be really easy. I believe in you. Okay, here we go. So this is... No, you're not supposed to go yet. We're not ready yet. Shh. Okay, so Jesus kind of invites them to throw down their nets, leave their life of fishing, and follow him. And it says this. So they pulled their boats up on shore, left, and followed him, right? They left everything. So their entire lives, they were fishermen, right? Their dad taught them how to be fishermen. This was all they had done. And then all of a sudden, this dude who they've never met before comes along, helps them catch a bunch of fish, and is like, hey, give up everything you know, change everything about your life, and come and follow me. And they do it. It's crazy, right? It's this moment, just like Darth Vader turning to the good side is just like a snap decision where he's like, oh, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to be good now. They decide, oh, I'm not going to be a fisherman anymore. I'm going to follow Jesus. I'm going to go commit my life to following Jesus. And then they spent the next 3 years of their lives following him around, doing things with him, seeing him do miracles, listening to him teach. And then even after that, they continued on after Jesus went to the cross and then was resurrected. They continued on and were building the church and doing all these things, right? They left their life of fishermen and completely changed everything just like that on a dime, right? Because Jesus knew this truth, and it's something that we know and we see it in our culture all the time, but we don't really accept it very often, right? It's the fact that you are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago, okay? You are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. And you can throw it up on the screen. That'd be great. You're under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. What does that mean? That means they were fishermen, right? And then Jesus came, and now they're not fishermen. Now they're followers of Jesus. They changed everything. Darth Vader was evil, and then he decided, you know what? I want to save my son. Now I'm good. He was evil, then he changed everything, right? The weather was really good on the mountain, and then it decided, let's, scare these people and hail on them, and it changed, right? You are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. At any point in time, you can decide, I want to do something different. I want to be different. I don't want to go on living the way I am, right? Just like these fishermen, they decided, you're good. They decided to change everything, right? They changed everything about their lives. They gave up everything, as the verse said. And you and I, we have a lot of opportunity for this too, right? Maybe you have a group of friends and you're like, I kind of like my friends, but at the same time, they're always full of drama. They're always gossiping. They're always tearing me down. And you're like, they're really not great friends. When I hang out with them, I don't feel good about myself. Or maybe you're a person who's mean to other people. You're mean to other people, you're rude, you're not nice. Maybe people think you're annoying, you're always making inappropriate jokes. Or maybe you're the funny person and you're like, oh, I don't really want to always be the funny person. Sometimes I want to be serious. The reality is, you are under no obligation to continue being that person. You are under no obligation to continue gossiping, no obligation to continue hanging out with those friends who are dragging you down, who are being mean to you, who are causing you to be stuck in drama, or who are gossiping about you. You're under no obligation to continue being friends with them. You can, just like those fishermen, turn your back to that and say, you know what, I'm going to go do something else. I'm going to go a different way. I'm going to be different. Right? You, at any moment, can decide, you know what? I'm not going to be a mean person anymore. I'm going to go be nice to people. I'm going to speak nice things. I'm not going to gossip. I'm going to encourage people instead. You can do that at any moment that you want to, right? And it's something that's kind of crazy because we think like, oh, like I can't like turn my back on my friends. I can't do this. I can't do that. It's not true. You're under no obligation to be the same person. You can change anything about yourself just like that, right? Just like those fishermen decided, you know what? We're not going to be fishermen anymore. We're going to be followers of Jesus. It's that easy, right? And sometimes you're like, well, it's actually not that easy. There's a lot more that comes with it. And yeah, it might take some more sorting out. But the reality is that if you want to change something, you can. If you want to change something about yourself or about who you are, about what you do, you can, right? And there's probably a few things that you've like popped into your mind. Maybe like one of those things resonated with you. You're like, yeah, I have some friends who are just like not good influences on me. Well, you don't have to continue being friends with them, or at least not good friends, right? You don't have to be like close friends with them where you're hanging out with them always and you're letting them influence you. You can choose to change your friend group. You can change how you talk. You can change who you talk to and who influences you. And so that's kind of what I want us to think about tonight. And we're going to have another worship song here in a couple minutes. And when we're getting into that, I want you guys to be thinking about what is something that you want to change? What is something you need to change, right? Maybe you need to be a more optimistic person, a more positive person, right? You're tired of being negative and pessimistic and always like thinking the world is ending and like always being, you know, negative about things. You can change that. It might take a little bit of work, but you can change it, right? When those fishermen put down their nets and decided to follow Jesus, it maybe wasn't the easiest decision they ever made, but it was probably the best decision they ever made, right? It was probably the best thing they did for themselves. It might have taken some work. It might have taken some steps to get there and to really get good at it, but they decided, you know what? It's worth it. We're going to follow Jesus. We're going to give up those other things and follow Jesus. So I want you guys to think about what is something you need to give up, or what is something you want to change? What is something that maybe you don't like about who you are, you don't like about the way you're living, and think, you don't have to keep doing that, right? There's nothing that says you have to keep doing that, right? You can walk out of here tonight and be a totally different person than you were when you walked in here, right? Maybe you were a mean person when you walked in here. I don't think any of you are mean, though. You're all really nice. But maybe you were like, oh, yeah, I'm kind of mean to people at school. You don't ever have to be mean to people at school again if you don't want to, right? There's nothing making you do that. And, you know, I don't know a lot of things in this life, but something that is very true and will always be true is that we don't have a lot of control over what happens in life, right? Sometimes we can't control how other people are going to treat us. We can't control how your classmates are going to talk to you or what's going to happen at home always. But what you can control is yourself, right? You can control what you say. You can control what you do, how you act, the emotions you have. You can kind of control some of those things. So it's your choice, right? It's up to you to decide who you're going to be in the next 5 minutes, right? Because you're not under any obligation to be the same person you were before. So who are you going to be now, right? Are you going to make a change like Darth Vader did, where he went from evil to good? Are you going to make a change like the fishermen did, where they decided, you know what, we've been living this life, and Simon even said it. He said, I'm a sinner. You know, I have messed up. We are all sinners, if you didn't know. We've all messed up. None of us are perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. Simon wasn't perfect. We can all recognize we're not perfect, right? There's a lot of things that are wrong. And they decided, we're going to follow this guy, Jesus, right? We're going to follow him. That's pretty cool, dude. So he decided to follow Jesus, and we can do that too, right? You can decide to follow Jesus. Maybe you've no idea who Jesus is, and you're like, I'm kind of interested in him. I want to learn more. Well, you can talk to me about him after, or you can talk to any of the leaders in here. They would love to talk to you more about Jesus. But just think about it in your head. We're going to pray, and then we're going to go into song of worship. And when we go into worship, I don't want you guys to like jump up and go crazy and do anything like that. I want you to just kind of be a little more calm and think about, is there something I need to change? Is there something I want to change? Is there a change I want to make? Okay? So pray with me, and then we're going to get into that. Dear Lord, we want to thank you that you are a God who allows us to change and that you don't hold us to any obligation of being the same person we were 5 minutes ago, and that we can make the change to throw down our nets and to follow you. God, I pray for anyone in here who maybe doesn't know who you are. I pray that they would know you, Jesus. I pray that you would reveal yourself to them. If you are sitting there and you're thinking, I want this Jesus guy, I want to throw down my nets and I want to follow him, I want to throw down my past or whatever I've been struggling with and follow Jesus, then all you have to do is just say, Jesus, please come into my heart, be the Lord of my life, and teach me more about you. And he will do that, right? And you can become a Christian. You can throw down your nets and follow him just like those fishermen did. So, just teach us how to follow you better, Lord. Teach us what you want us to maybe move on from or change in our lives. And we ask that you would just help us to reflect on that tonight and that you would just bring us a great week and keep us all safe. And we pray all these things in your name. Everybody said, amen.
All right, guys, we're going to do one more song of worship. And I like what Bryce just said. Raise your hand if you are in 8th grade. Do we have any 8th graders? Hey, we got some. All right. So I made the decision that I wanted to be a worship leader when I was in 8th grade. And the thing that made me decide that that's what I wanted to do is I was at winter camp and I saw all of my friends not caring about God and not caring about worship, and it did not sit right with me. And I thought, there's something more to this. So y'all are not too young to praise the Lord with everything that you have. If I made that decision, y'all can too. So let's worship together.
I'm not giving up.
2 things we say every week. You are loved and accepted. Oh, wait, no. You are loved and prayed for, and you are accepted here just the way you are. Have a good night, guys. And remember to sign up for local. You've only got 1 more week. See you guys Sunday or next Wednesday.